Welcome to the Grumpy Petrolhead channel, and we're going to look at these three cars because each of them is 100 years old. 100 years ago, Stanley Baldwin was the Prime Minister of the UK, King George V was the King, and Queen Elizabeth II was born this year. That's a lot of history. I was just thinking that when these cars were made, the very first television broadcast was made. It was actually just from one room to another room. And here we are, 100 years later, where you're probably watching this video on a computer or a small portable computer, or maybe even on your phone. And you can watch this wherever you like, almost anywhere in the world. Whilst sitting on a train, whilst in the back of a taxi, pretty much anywhere. That's quite extraordinary, and what would people have thought of our ability to do that back in the day of the very first television? Well, let's take these cars for a drive, and I think we will start with the Ford Model T. Gosh, it's windy. Well, who would buy this car in 1926? Well, a lot of people would, as Ford made over 15.5 million, and Ford very much encouraged its employees to buy the cars. And I do believe if you turned up at the factory in anything other than a Ford, it would be very, very frowned upon. And because they were quite, well, affordable, a lot of what you would say average earners would be able to buy this car. I picked the windiest day to drive a Ford Model T. As these cars were made to be as affordable as possible, and it obviously worked, as they sold 15 million, there are still around 1 million left on the road 100 years later. And what's interesting is, as a classic or vintage car, they are still quite affordable. So this car was a little bit more upmarket. In 1926, this car was £275. So £275, but the road tax is 14. That's a lot of road tax. It's so nice to get into third gear. It's so much more quiet. So who would buy a car like this in 1926? Well, funnily enough, we know exactly who bought this car in 1926. For the full information on this car, check out a previous episode, which I'll leave in a playlist at the end. Two young ladies bought this car, quite well-to-do. I think you had to be a little bit more well-to-do to afford a car like this in the 20s. In fact, we believe it was the first car in Honington in Devon. And the ladies were part of a family of banana importers. And in fact, the two ladies didn't drive. They bought the car with the understanding that the garage owners would take them shopping. Oh, what a nice gear change. So this car was made when the Millimingi, I can never pronounce it, the 1,000-mile race first started. It was also the year of the very first Grand Prix in England at Brooklands. And when we're driving this car, you really do get a sense of history, because this car is near as damn it as it would have been in 1926. So we're getting the very same experience. And because this car has such low mileage, it really is a time warp. It's got a bit more power than the Ford Model T. It's a little bit more, well, much more refined. We have a hill coming up. Not much of a bother for this car. Only the very steepest hills does it give me a little bit of grief. And then we have to go into second gear. Or it's very steep, we have to go into first gear, which, as you heard earlier, is very noisy. First gear is a straight cut gear. There we go. We simply glided up that hill. Much more conventional than the Model T driving this car. Although the accelerator is in between the brake and the clutch. You get used to it really quickly. It doesn't bounce around the road as much as a Ford Model T. It has 4 springs, whereas the Model T's only got 2. Use a bit of engine braking going down this hill. What's good about these old cars They're big wheels. And lots of ground clearance. If you want to do a sneaky U-turn, pretty much do it anywhere. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, nasty gear change there. See what I mean about those gears? It is quite a relief when you get into top. This really is good fun. Retard Englishing a bit for this hill. I think this is a top gear hill, or maybe not, or maybe, no, it's alright, we'll be okay. There we go. Well, I'd best be getting back because there's the latest Greta Garbo film I want to go and see. Imagine what women were wearing in 1926. They're all flappers, weren't they? The Roaring Twenties. He's struggling up the hill. He'll have to buy himself a motor car. Although the Ford Model T has a maximum speed of just over 40, this car can cruise at around 40. Although the road does have to be flat, and it's best if it's not too windy. It's a very pleasant experience driving this car. The handling feels nice and taut. It's so much more civilised than the Model T. Much more refined, I'd say. Although once you get used to the Model T with its strange controls, the Model T is ultimately easier to drive, funnily enough. Well, there we are. That's a quick, brief glimpse of what it's like to drive this 1926 Standard Wellesbourne. A very rare car, by the way, although there's a lot of standard cars still about from the 20s. There's actually only two of this model, the Wellesbourne. So it is a very rare car. Mercedes and Benz joined forces in 1926 to create the first Mercedes-Benz. How about that? What a different experience it is driving this car. Now this car would have been maybe £1,500. That's without a body. So the price difference is extraordinary, isn't it? Oh, frightening. So who would buy a car like this in 1926? Well, once again, we know exactly who. This car was bought by one Lady Yarrow, the wife of Sir Alfred Yarrow, the shipbuilder. Well, we'd better start making our way home. there's a Buster Keaton film on at the Autodrome, would you call it? The old cinemas. I think about driving this car, what a gentleman would be wearing in 1926. Probably a boater hat and a nice suit with baggy trousers. Fantastic. So what about the next 100 years? I've got a feeling that these three cars will still be about in 100 years' time. Well, I like to think so. And of course, there is the concern about fuels. But already there's sustainable petrol being manufactured now. It's not cheap, but it is available. And perhaps I'm being optimistic, but perhaps when more and more cars are becoming electric, there'll be less petrol stations and less demand for our standard petrol. So this sustainable fuel, this sustainable petrol equivalent, will become more available. And perhaps the production will go up, and then it will become perhaps quite affordable. That's what I'm hoping for. But of course, in another 100 years' time, who's going to be interested in these old cars? But then again, there's a lot of interest of antiques and such, which are much older, and the interest is always there. So I think we're probably going to be safe with interest in old cars. And of course, the benefit of these things is they're more than antiques. They're something that can be used, driven, and something that can actually take you places. And also something that they're very involving. You can fix them and mend them and tinker with them and service them. So I think the future's fine for old cars. And I think I'd like to think, yes, that all three of these 100-year-old cars will still be driven, will still being used in 100 years' time. But what do you think? Am I being over-optimistic? Something I'm being wondering about. Is there anyone out there that's watching this that's perhaps in their 20s, or young people generally who are interested in old cars? It'd be great to hear from you. If you're out there, please let us know in the comments. It'd be nice to know that there is this interest for younger people in this old hobby of ours. So please do, yeah, let us know. And or if anyone's got any comments or stories about their experience with old cars, why do you have them? Why are they interesting? Or perhaps do you think we're eccentric? Well, if you've made it this far, well done. Thank you very much for watching. Please stick around for more episodes on the Grumpy Petrolhead, and we'll be looking at more old cars and motorbikes. So if this is the sort of thing you like, and well, hopefully we shall see you next time. Cheerio. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Well, thank you for coming along with me on our 300 years of motoring. Very enjoyable.